What do you expect to see when you venture out for the day? Some nice scenery? Familiar faces? Or perhaps you are expecting to see conflict? As I look back at 2022, there were moments that made me think everything is going to be okay, and times where it felt like the end was near. In life, you can simply choose to walk down a path that is familiar to you while avoiding anything else that may disrupt your beliefs. That sounds like a peaceful way to go about with your day, but at the same time, it may disconnect you from reality. Without exploring what is happening in the bigger picture, your ability to enjoy that peaceful walk may not exist tomorrow. So what happened in the year 2022 that almost took everything away? A familiar path this year was strolling around nature. How can you not welcome the peacefulness that comes with just being present? While there were a lot of familiar faces, one memory this year was when I randomly bumped into a stranded little duckling.
The duckling?
Where was its mom? As surely it can't fend for itself. My natural reaction was to try and reunite it with its family. To think this little guy has no real preconceived notion whether it should trust or fear me. It's always great to be able to help someone in need.
Who's seen a mama? Where? You see a mama duck? Where?
No.
Oh, you don't want to leave now. Come on, I'm not gonna stop you. There we go.
Do even animals remember you as the person who helped them when they grow up? It sure seemed like it, as this year, it felt like a lot of the now grown-up animals were even more welcoming. Look at the excitement they show when they recognize familiar faces. This seems to get passed down through new generations, as even animals I have never specifically encountered seem really friendly. I could wake up to this every day and just enjoy life while continuing to nurture this peaceful environment for everyone to enjoy. But even I know there's always something happening in the world that can directly or indirectly change your way of life. 2022 was also probably one of the most divisive years I've ever witnessed in my life amongst fellow citizens. There was still a lot of disagreements this year on how all the COVID-related events should be handled. Should society be separated where vaccinated individuals should have the rights over unvaccinated people? Should lockdowns be a norm in the name of safety versus giving people choice and guidance? These events created what was dubbed as a freedom convoy in Canada, as thousands of truck drivers across the country drove their vehicles while honking their horns non-stop and blocking bridges at times in protest of mandates and restrictions. The government's response was to refuse to speak with the protesters while invoking what was called the Emergencies Act against these groups of people and its supporters. This gave them extraordinary powers to be used on them, such as freezing bank accounts and in a sense treating them like terrorists. It sounded like it was meant more for usage during a war. From my observation, many people were treating this like a sporting event where they wanted the other side to lose. You would often read people essentially cheering when they see violent actions performed on others.
I mean, isn't that kind of scary when you read like these comments, people saying yes, more to all our police forces out there? Watching this now is like watching a gold medal game and knowing your team is gonna win.
One of the lasting images of this ordeal was a police horse trampling protesters. I can't say this whole situation made rational sense, as it felt like a lot of people were guided by emotions in a tribal manner. The least I could do was to try and listen to all sides while not jumping to conclusions. A lot of people didn't feel that way though, to the point where they would chastise people with different views while creating a perpetual cycle of conflict. To this day, it is still being investigated whether or not this Emergencies Act was justified as a legitimate safety concern or if it was simply politically motivated. Could all this have been avoided if people just talked and listened to each other, versus insisting that what they currently know about a situation is the absolute correct final answer? Then, there were other big protests that happened this year due to events around the world. A literal war between Ukraine and Russia generated massive crowds around the city in protest of the war. There was also an incident in Iran where, because a lady did not wear a hijab, the claimed issue was taken into police custody for what was dubbed as the morality police. She apparently passed away while in custody as protests erupted worldwide over potential foul play and one's personal freedom to make their own decisions in life. As you can see, there always seemed to be something happening around the world this year that would make it seem where we will no longer enjoy our freedoms or that we are on the verge of an all-out nuclear war. If that happened, it truly would affect us all. Life needs balance, as all that conflict and negativity can't be good in the long run for you. I guess that's why walking a lot helps to clear the mind and soul. That reminds me of how long I've been creating daily videos, as this year I surpassed the 2,000 consecutive video mark. Who would have thought starting out with the basic premise of just wanting to share items such as drone captures of my walks would continue to evolve? Or at the same time, having to speak out on the issue in order to educate people to not be afraid of a person like myself who just wants to capture the scenery. Walking up a mountain sounds like a fun way to commemorate the milestone, right? Okay, maybe it's not for everyone.
Alright, we're going up the mountain today.
But at least I can share the experience with everyone else as well.
Here we are.
So 21 years ago, there was nowhere for orphan cubs to go. So they tried to place them in zoos. They contacted zoos here in Canada. They also contacted zoos in the States. Unfortunately, no one could take them in. And this actually turned into a ski run in the winter time. And then once we start seeing more movement in the hibernation camera, we start putting the fencing back up in sections. So give us a couple of weeks and lower habitat.
With that in mind of sharing experiences, the biggest unfortunate event for me this year was how one of my hard drives suddenly died.
You're kidding me.
It had months of video work on it, and it would be a tragedy to lose everything. While I did have data recovery services on the hard drive in case such an event happened, the company responded back by claiming their attempts to recover the data was unsuccessful, and so they just gave me a new hard drive.
And what's going on today? I guess the first thing I read was there was an update about the data recovery or the hard drive crash, and it seemed like all the stuff should still be in there, but it was recognizing the whole drive as if it was brand new. So to my knowledge, there should be a higher chance that you should actually be able to recover the drive. And with this update, unfortunately, it seems like it says they were unsuccessful in any way. It says here, we regret to inform you that we were unsuccessful in recovering your data for that case number. And it says Seagate will securely recycle your device according to Seagate's media sanitation practices.
Did they actually even try very hard, considering you could still boot it up and all? That I will never know. Many would ask, how is it that I don't just stop capturing moments after an experience like this? My only real thought is life happens, where many times you can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you react to it. If I knew that it was only just one person in the world that benefited from what I've shown, to me, that is all I can ask for, and the day is still young to capture new moments. The universe showed me too that there are people who care, as I was surprised to receive donations, even though I did not ask for it. These grateful gestures are always something I remember. With that thought, one of the most surprising things in relation to this is how I continued to capture drone videos and decided to enter a contest. I was surprised to learn that I actually won a prize for my drone video, I was not expecting this, and the prize money will go a long way in helping me to keep moving forward. Can you imagine if I did just give up due to one big setback in life? I would never have known that this was possible. I guess this shows, despite the bad things that can happen in your life, if you just keep moving forward, the universe will find a way to help balance things out. It makes you wonder, in continuing to move forward, plus all the issues around the world, what is the most important thing in life? Is it to simply enjoy it while blocking out everything else? Should you be speaking out about issues you feel are important, even if it brings hardship? I'm not really sure what requires more of my attention and the best path to take. All I know is to keep moving forward with an open mind to best prepare myself for any path that I will venture in. Alright, see you guys later.